Hello, yes, hi. It's been a while. I've finally managed to crawl my way back to the world of the living, and I'm here to tell you that I'm working on a new project. This one is called Reality Layer Zero. It's a game where you're able to fulfill your sick fantasies of being able to actually win a debate with someone. I've been working on it for about 2.5 years now, and I think it's coming along pretty okay. I'd be honored if you would check out the trailer. There is a link in the description. I'm making this video to tell you about it, obviously, but I also think it would be kind of fun to talk about the ways that I lied to you in the trailer, because, well, you know, the project isn't done yet, and so there are some areas where I had to fabricate things just to get interesting footage. For instance, there's this one scene where you acquire a card. That's totally fake. That doesn't actually happen in the final game. The real version of this scene is completely different. And likewise with this evidence presentation sequence that you should be seeing now. The guard AI that you see in the trailer is currently not configured to do anything other than just summon premises over and over, which is actually an alarmingly effective tactic in the version of the game that was used to create the trailer. I actually went back in and sort of rebalanced how the premise generation mechanic worked a little bit, just to make that a little bit less effective, since it feels it feels like it's too straightforward to really be as difficult to deal with as it turned out to be. But that's just part of balancing. And obviously the encounter with the guard in the alleyway that triggers the initial debate that you see, that doesn't happen in the game, at least not in the way that it was presented in the trailer. That was totally new stuff, just to kind of quickly introduce the viewer to the concept, which is that this is a one-on-one versus style debating game. Otherwise, pretty much everything was as it currently is, fairly well represented. Something that I did early on in development that made putting together large chunks of this trailer pretty easy was I actually went in and more or less implemented every mechanic that I intend on making it into the final version of the debate mode, up front. That was I spent basically the first year of development doing that, and as a result I had a lot of mechanics to pick from to show. And the ones that made it into the trailer are relatively simple and, just a small subset of the total mechanical breadth of the game. So I guess look forward to seeing more of those, more mechanics, if you care about such things. Since obviously as the game gets closer to coming out, I'm going to be talking about it a bit more. Speaking of, I plan on releasing this game in episodic chunks called acts, because there's a lot of stuff to make, and it takes a long time, and I think there's some value in releasing things incrementally, for both just to make sure that I don't drive myself crazy working in isolation for years on end, and also because I think incremental feedback for a game that may have delicate balancing, mechanical balancing stuff to do, might ultimately result in a more refined and playable final work, if that makes any sense at all. The first act will probably come out sometime early next year, if all goes well, although it may not go well, since my projects tend to run kind of long. Assuming all goes well, though, you should be able to actually give this one a try pretty soon. I'm developing the game in GameMaker Studio 2, for those who are curious. It's an engine that isn't really known for 3D stuff. Even though it looks very 3D, this game is still built with very 2D sensibilities. The 3D is mostly just a visual trick. It's authentically 3D. It's all vertices in three-dimensional space, but the actual game programming stuff is still mostly 2D minded. So it's not actually as crazy as it sounds. Although there are some things in here that I think are maybe a little bit crazy. For instance, you're seeing real-time lighting and shadows on all of these scenes, which is, I think, a tremendously interesting-looking effect, but also required a fair amount of effort on my part to actually get working, since the engine doesn't have anything built in to support that. Actually, a lot of stuff that went into making this game was kind of custom, although admittedly I am borrowing a lot of code from the community, the game maker community, to do a lot of these things. Ultimately, I'm kind of working in a heavily extended version of Game Maker. I could spend a long time talking about all of the various ways that the engine's been extended, but I kind of want to get back to the point of this video, which is to introduce the project really quick. Main sources of inspiration for this game were, Aristotle's The Art of Rhetoric, but from a mechanical perspective, it's more like the Pokemon trading card game, just a bit though. A little bit of Baten Kaitos, and some thematic influences from like visual novels like Umineko and Phoenix Wright, which I'm sure you can see. And I think, needless to say, I started into this art style with the intention of ripping off Fire Emblem Awakening and a number of other handheld games that use this kind of 2.5D overhead style, which I have quite a fondness for, since I was more or less raised on that era of like DS games. Anyway, this introduction's running kind of long, and I imagine the background footage is getting a little bit repetitive at this point, since, as said, I didn't really configure the guard to do anything too interesting in this version of the game. So I think here is a good place to end it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I've managed to, at the very least, entertain you in talking about this project. And if you're interested, I would be absolutely thrilled if you could, follow its development in some capacity. That would be just the best. And thank you so much for your consideration. Anyway, I'll see you again in 2 years from now. Take care.